Who has a disagreement? Anybody? You have a Trump hat on, but yeah, you got a rainbow shirt. How about you? So, yeah, I'm kidding.
Billy String
No,
shirt.
I'm kidding.
But, okay.
I'm giving you a hard time. Thank you, and everyone please be respectful.
All right, Charlie, I have a question for you. So, as a Christian, how do you justify campaigning for someone who was found civilly liable for sexual abuse?
Well, first of all, we as conservatives believe that that was like a Moscow show trial. It made no sense. How much about the trial do you know?
I've read some of the witness transcripts.
Yeah. So the main accuser is a woman by the name of
Jean Carroll.
Yeah, exactly. And she said the following: "A rape is sexy." She said that on air, right? She couldn't remember the time, the date, or the year that the incident happened. And even Anderson Cooper said this is not a credible witness that should be taken seriously. But let's pretend you're right, because I don't want to get too far into the details. But let's pretend that President Trump was guilty of sexual abuse. Is there any example of somebody in the Bible that was guilty of doing something bad that still was after God's own heart? This is the Bible Belt, but yes, the question is for you.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, David would be the most obvious. So how much do you know about the example of David and Bathsheba? Probably not a lot, right? So David one day woke up and he was in charge of the Israeli army. I believe it was Uriah, if I'm drawing from memory correctly, right? And Uriah was like the head infantry commander. Uriah had a wife, very beautiful, by the name of Bathsheba. Bathsheba woke up one day and was very provocatively showering for all to see. And David lustfully said, "I want that." In fact, not only did he say, did he want that, he then commissioned Uriah to the front lines of a battle to then basically get Uriah killed. Basically saying, I'm going to kill your husband so that I could be with Bathsheba. He does that, he dies, he then weeps terribly, and God even draws him closer to him in this very, very difficult, mysterious story. A second example, of course, would be Samson. Samson is found in the book of Hebrews in the Hall of Faith. Samson lived such a colorful life that God came to him when he was in a prostitute's bed. But God called Samson for a purpose greater than his and used the jaw of a donkey to go kill, thousands of Philistines. What I'm getting at is we are all sinners that fall short of the glory of God, and God can use imperfect vessels for righteous and good causes, of which I think he used Donald Trump to help save the country.
Okay. So you said that, so you think the court case was a witch hunt?
Yes, I think that case was absolutely a witch hunt. And
were the jurors, specifically the ones who found him liable, were they part of that?
So it's very important that this was a civil case, not a criminal case. This never reached the threshold where any criminal prosecutor wanted to bring this because they thought the evidence was so shoddy. But yes, the jurors got this wrong because they were all suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
Really?
This was a New York City-based jury, and of course
who picked the jury?
They were New York City-based.
Well, yeah, but who picked the jury?
Well,
Trump's lawyer.
Well, no, that's not true. They have input on the jury selection. But they get 3 strikes. Those strikes were used. The judge was hardly fair. Again, I'm happy to go into all the individual minutes, but let's use reason. Can I be a little provocative on this for a second, guys? Okay. And I'm gonna try to prove you wrong using a little provocation, and I'm gonna be politically incorrect. Is that okay? All right. Trigger warning. Okay. So let me understand this. Here is the world's wealthiest man. One of the world's wealthiest men, worth like $10 billion. He's got a show on the NBC Apprentice. He's literally married to a supermodel. He can have any woman on the world. And I'm supposed to believe at 2 p.m. in a Tiffany's store, he walks in and Jean Carroll, who is not exactly a supermodel, and risks his entire fortune, of which there is no accusation for 20 years, but he pops up and runs for the president, and all of a sudden she says, this guy me, even though I can't remember the day, the month, the year, 2 p.m. in a department store at Tiffany's while he was at the height of his career. I'm sorry, that's complete rubbish and political nonsense.
Well, so there was a law in New York up until 2022, before 2022, or during 2022, there was a law passed called the Abuser, I can't remember the name, Protection Act or something like that, and it removed the statute of limitation, which was 1 year for civil cases for abuse. So that's how she had to wait so long until 2022.
But she did not voice the accusation publicly till he ran for president, which she did in 2017, 2018. Second, the trial itself was financed by Democrat donors. Thirdly, this is such a superfluous conversation. He's president of the United States. He won. We won. The American people saw this and did not care. So maybe we could talk about issues that are happening right now, not some fake accusation from 30 years ago.